I have to admit, it's more fun than I thought it was.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Here we are, another week. This is Ebonics, and we are here with Dio and Don CZG. How you
Good
guys doing
morning.
this week?
How you doing? How you doing?
Doing
It's
great.
a good day to be alive.
This guy.
I
You've been watching too
got an
many of the
energy
streams.
today.
You
I
got you
got
watching
the
too many
energy
of the
today,
streams.
man.
Oh my gosh. I know why you got that energy, man. You've been playing that Destiny. You know what I'm saying on that 4K 30
Yeah, man.
until the update.
Waiting for that patch. A week and a half. I'm ready.
I must say, I started over again once I finally got the Series X yesterday.
How you feel?
I started also.
Oh my goodness.
How's
It
it
was
feeling, Max?
how does what feel? You talking about the X
Getting
power?
the
Or
series.
you
Feeling the power.
you-
Feeling the power next gen.
I have to admit, being that I was coming from the Xbox One X going into the Series X, I didn't feel that much empowered, to be honest. Like, oh my gosh, I have the next gen. What really got me was it came in a box. I opened the box. I took the console out the box. That was the experience. You know what I'm saying? To me, it was experience. And then when I actually turned it on, I started messing around with, believe it or not, I started messing around with the avatar and the
Oh, yeah.
and the UI and stuff. By the way, Lewis, welcome. Oh, you're driving? Man, take your time. Drive safe, man. Drive safe. Thank you for jumping in and listening to us while you're on your road, man. But yeah, avatar, and then I mess around with the profile. Still trying to figure out how to change my backgrounds. I know it's there, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's in there.
The rest of my day has been downloading over the network, man. Like trying to transfer files from Xbox One X to the Series X over Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Man, even at 200 megabytes per second, you know.
It's not great, is it? It's not great.
Yeah, I've been waiting. Watching Netflix. But that's fine though. It's different. I've never done it before as far as transferring over network. So it was an experience. But what about you guys? What you guys been up to?
Oh man, I've been playing a lot of Destiny, man. You know, we got the footage in the back. I just been grinding the game, chilling out really.
Nice.
I actually started over in Destiny 2 also. I have to admit, the new player experience is a lot better than it's been for quite a few patches. It's actually flows, has good quests. In how the leveling battle experience works, like the battle pass in it is pretty cool.
I agree. Like I thought it was like this. How can I put it? Because I don't know if I'm sounding kind of like fanboyish right now. I'm trying not to, because there's a lot going in my head right now, and I'm trying to think about it. But when playing Destiny, as you mentioned the leveling, I did not mention until you mentioned it that it was actually the season leveling and not just the base leveling. So
Yep.
my only question is, and I think Don can answer this question is, when the season starts over, is that level 1 again? With this
Yeah.
update?
Kind of, yeah. So you got a number above your head, and you got your season level, and you've got your season artifact in your inventory. That will all reset at the end of the season, but your power level and your gear level all stays the same.
Because it's kind of weird when you start over and then you see level 1, level 2, level 3, and you're going through the motions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that level above your head is just your season pass level, but the only thing that really matters is your gear level, really.
Bro, I want to be level 99 and stay that way.
Dude, I've seen like level 170s, man. It's crazy.
I'm just saying. I am just saying.
So Don, what happens when you like pass the max level of the battle pass? Is there like kind of rewards for that?
I think once you're past 100, there's nothing. I don't think there's any point.
Oh, really?
as far as I know.
Okay. It's just status at that point.
Yeah.
But isn't there some form of perks involved towards that leveling, so that, you know, even though you have max ranked and you've kind of hit the seasonal end game, there's end game to be done. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, like, the season only's been out for like 2 weeks at this point. So as the season progresses, more stuff unlocks, and then obviously there'll be more to do for like end game and whatnot. So the game kind of evolves as the season goes through. But at the minute, there's no point in really getting past 100. Yeah, I think there's rewards if you got the season pass. Like ascendant shards and like exclusive materials what are great to have, but there's no point trying to grind to 100 straight away. You know what I mean? That's just excessive.
Bro, I'm coming from the JRPG type vibe where you play and you like, oh, I'm level 99 and I hit like 9999999s on DPS. Now there's no point to hitting end game, not end seasonal ranks at this point because it's pointless.
Yeah, I mean, as you leveling up, you do get like a power bonus for every couple levels. So there is a point of like leveling up, but there's no point in the long term for a casual player, just boosting all the way through.
Ooh, speaking about casualty, well, not casualty, but casual gaming. When you start over with Destiny, and me and Dio was playing together. We started over. I started over again after I played with Dio. Like the first time when we started over, I played again with a hunter because I wanted to experience the beginning with a Series X. And I just like the fluidity of the quest. So
way better.
Normal. Now I'm not sure how long it's gonna last. I mean, not how long it's gonna last as though it's here, but I'm talking about in the beginning of Destiny, you go through this experience, and then once you've hit like Forsaken or you hit like Shadowkeep, if it's still gonna be the same, because it felt back to back as though like it was consistent. It wasn't, oh, we gotta log you out, you go into the space and coming back down. You know what I'm saying? It felt like a flow. As RPG action adventure games do. You finish a quest, you're still there, you're not loading into anything, and it felt good. So I'm very interested to seeing how much more that specific mechanic in questing is in play or gameplay. I'm just sad that Gaul no longer exists. It's like he was a figment of my imagination.
Yeah, they kind of sunset a lot of the OG Destiny content at this point. I feel like it's just kind of outdated to what Destiny is now.
How is it outdated? They went back to D1 and replayed D1 for the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I think because getting rid of Gaul, that's got rid of the Destiny 2 beginning story, so they had to kind of supplement it with something else for those new players.
Boy, there were some iconic moments in that Gaul. I know some people don't agree with me, but like when you hit the area where you're about to save the planet from save the sun from being destroyed, that was an experience.
Yeah.
All these different experiences, and I felt like, yo, I want D to experience that too. Dio.
Yeah.
Man, Dio's going in like, man, I'm waiting for Gaul to show up, and Gaul doesn't exist.
Yeah, Gaul's he ain't really around anymore.
He got overtaken by the darkness. He's been erased. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, come on. So
I definitely appreciate that too. Like, it's way more organic. It feels like it really flows a lot better. Not breaking that immersion with the tower and space, like you're saying, it's like a godsend.
Yeah, there's a lot less back and forth. It's more like, okay, you've done this mission, let's move on to the next thing. Instead of just, tower and back, tower and back, tower and back, like it was in Destiny 1, which is just,
So
and if you have Game Pass, you get everything. So
yeah.
So Don, you've gone ahead of us. I have a high ranking Titan, but I started over, right? So I started over when the new stuff came in. So the question would be, since me and Dio haven't pushed forward, right, as much as you have, what new surprises in Destiny exist this time around?
That's a good question, man. I think coming into it now is probably the best time to get into Destiny. There's a lot of good content in the game now. Forsaken was arguably one of the best DLCs for Destiny 2. And you got Shadow Cape, equally great. There's a lot of rich storytelling in there, which you didn't really get with the base Destiny 2 or the base Destiny 1, in fact, either.
Yeah.
And even this DLC, Beyond Light, pretty good. And you've got a new active season as well, and there's a lot of story what's kind of been hinted at, and it will, as the story season progresses, you'll get a lot more of that story coming. And obviously, you got a raid what just came out last weekend, and you see the footage of that playing in the back, and there's a lot going on in the game right now.
Okay. Dio, what you been up to, man?
A little bit of everything. Still testing out different games on the Series X. I got back into World of Warcraft because they had a new expansion also, Shadowlands.
Yeah,
Liking some of the changes that they've made to it. I still got to get to endgame to see exactly how it all works. But from what I've heard from different tutorials and guides, it sounds like Blizzard is definitely going in the right direction.
What is the right direction for non MMO people who look at ESO as their first MMO experience? Like man, I've never experienced this love before. Does anything else exist out there that I can jump into? Like you're OG with World of Warcraft, so you're able to say the beginning, the middle, and the end, pretty much. For somebody who doesn't understand MMOs and look at ESO as their first experience, how would you describe World of Warcraft and where it is today and how it's different?
So as casual as this might sound, you're actually not really. It's not that you're not rewarded, but you don't feel pigeonholed into partaking into like whatever your main focus is, right? So like if you're really into raiding and PvE, like before in PvE, if you wanted to get the best gear, you had to do raiding, high quality raiding, or even mythic dungeons. But you felt like you had to do a X amount of it every week, and you had to keep grinding it, and you could never kind of like dip your toes into other parts of the game because you kept chasing the carrot on the stick. Where now it's like there's caps to everything. So now if you meet that cap in PvE or PvP, you can venture into the other aspects of the game, or maybe just play an alternate character. And like I said, like that sounds very casual, but in a way it's really nice because it gives you some room to breathe, or even like play another game. You don't feel like you have to keep grinding it, which could cause like burnout. And I think that was the problem that the game's had for maybe at least an expansion or two. Especially for PvP players. For PvP players, they suffered for a long time now because they haven't had traditional PvP gear where you could buy it from a vendor for a few expansions now, and now you could actually buy it with Honor, which is just from Battlegrounds as opposed to Arena, which is more hardcore. So I'm liking the idea of it. It seems like it's really gonna allow a lot of players to like venture on into different aspects of the game that they probably normally wouldn't.
The only thing close to WoW for me, and I guess I gotta go back in because I started off a little bit, level 10, but the only thing close to that for me would have been Final Fantasy 14. I know the tab targeting experience is almost the same, you would say.
Yep.
But they've been advertising. You said Shadowlands, right? For a minute with the trailers and everything else. So if someone is interested in getting into World of Warcraft today, do you have any guidance as a start off?
I would say it's actually a lot better now in the past expansions also because they lowered the level cap back down to 60. On last expansion it was 120, so they squished it. So like now is the perfect time to just jump into it and just play whatever class you think sounds like it might be the cool thing to do, because every class is good in its own way. I don't think there's anything that's super OP unless you're a min maxer and you're really elitist about it or whatever. But you should be able to play it any way you want to. It's a lot more fun. You have different specs. So even if there's a certain class you like but you don't like that specific spec, like let's say for Rogue, if you don't like being too sneaky, you have the it's not combat anymore. There's a new name for it actually. I want to say swashbuckler or something like that, but
What?
yeah, they have different. Yeah,
Like
something like
pirate
that.
class.
It's like kind of like almost like yeah, it's almost like pirate themed, like in a way. I can't think of the new name of it. They got rid of combat, but yeah, there's something in there for everybody.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Um, so outside of World of Warcraft, you had the pleasure of playing a game that I guess you underestimated, and that was Fortnite. You tend to fall in love a little bit. Do I sense a
Uh,
little bit of heart to heart connection there?
well, I'm having a lot of fun with it, mostly because I'm playing it with my three little girls and actually a lot of my family members. We had like a group of 12 the other day.
Oh wow.
Damn.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. Just running around and beating up on people while we're all on the same communication. Like we had half of us on the Switch, half of us on the Xbox, and we're able to cross play like with ease. And the communication, there's like no delay or anything. It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
I actually had a lot more fun with it than I ever expected to have with Fortnite.
And this was battle royale, like 50 versus 50. I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And there's some new things happening. Have with Fortnite. Have you experienced that yet, or are you guys still testing the waters with
So there's like a lot, at least from the last time I played. There's like this thing called Party Royale where you can actually just hang out and dance and shoot paint at each other and do like little events where you're like driving, boats or cars into like little loops for points. They have creative mode where it's almost like Minecraft where you can like build your own levels and rule sets. There's actually a campaign mode. There's actually a lot more to the game than I thought that there was, and they're actually going to be adding in a subscription service soon, because the community supports it like 100%. Which, after reading the subscription, what they're going to offer, it sounds actually like a pretty good deal, especially if you're someone who plays it consistently. It's only going to be $12 a month, and that includes the battle pass, which is about like $10 anyway. And most people who play consistently buy battle pass every month, and it still gives them like $10 worth of the currency also on top of it. And they're still going to get even more like outfit stuff for free also. Well, not for free, but you're paying for it. But you're getting a huge deal with that subscription if you're a Fortnite player in general and you've been buying every battle pass since season 1, which is up to season 22 now, I believe.
Okay.
So
this is
and that's supposed
brand
to be
new for
available
them, though.
December 2nd.
This
Excuse
is
me?
brand new, like the whole subscription base. This is
Yes.
something that they're hitting up. Is this similar to like the ESO Plus and the thing for WoW where you're paying monthly $15, I think, right? Would this be considered the same thing, or this is completely separate, like strategy?
I'd say it's very similar strategy. I mean, a lot of these companies, they are doing a subscription service because it shows their shareholders like, hey, we have consistent people who are always playing our game, and now they have money to actually back it up, right? Because you can see the Steam numbers and it's like cool to see that, but when you actually see, hey, this person is paying just to play our game that's free, it says a lot about their product. uh, but I would definitely compare it more to the ESO subscription, because you where like World of Warcraft and like Final Fantasy 14, you're kind of paying for permission to play on their servers. If you look at it in that perspective, this is more like, hey, you're paying a subscription, so you get like added effects to it. Like you're getting the currency for the game shop. You're getting like X and X,
Yeah.
boost or whatever. So
You're not just paying to play. You're getting
exactly
a lot more
yeah,
for it.
yeah. And you could always cancel it, and there'll be no drawback to it. You'll still have all your stuff that you've earned before. So where in WoW or Final Fantasy 14, once you stop paying, that's about it.
Gotcha.
You can't play the current stuff.
Lewis says, also, you got your first victory royale on your first game on squads.
That's right, Lewis.
Ooh.
We did our first squads together. I mean, he definitely carried me in the first game,
What?
but I did okay.
Wait, somebody carried Dio? Is that how you
Yeah,
get
I mean, Lewis is definitely a veteran. He's definitely a veteran in Fortnite with my sister. So like that subscription is definitely going to be a big win for him if he's into that, and I think he will be. I hope he heard what I was talking about.
All right. So it's been crazy this week. We've had some ups and downs with the console. I just want I mean, I know we have both parties in the chat. We have people who play on the PlayStation and people who play on Xbox. And I just want to just say, that both consoles pretty well done consoles as far as what they offer, where they are, how they position themselves. Unfortunately, we're having bugs and we're having crashes and stuff like that. One of the things that came up, and this is open discussion, even to the chat, feel free to vent if you will. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla has been the topic of discussion probably for about 3 weeks. And who plays which game on on what console does this game play best, right? And now Microsoft is trying to validate itself, and PlayStation has kind of, through fan base, solidifies itself as saying Assassin's Creed is better on PlayStation. It has came out from, I guess, developers and some other streamer. I should say content creators who are very knowledgeable about the industry. When I say knowledgeable, they're not fanboys. And when I say fanboys, they're not on Twitter blasting people for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I'm saying, like, they understand what's going on and they're trying to provide legitimate reasons as for the cause of some of these games. And one thing that came across was launch games. This changed my mind on games on the date of and post launch of consoles. These launch games are being made with the hope that they can still play when the console is launched for the very first time. And I'm not saying that they don't know it's going to play, right? They have the dev kits, they have the certifications through, going through the what's it called? Going through that red tape. Is your game good enough? Does it have this or that checked off so it can be on the Microsoft Store or the PlayStation Store? It goes through some form of validation and then it goes up for sale, right? Now these days, due to the pandemic and due to the sorry for the snap, the dev kits going out late, a lot of these games are showing a sense of incompletion. And it's people are then trying to wonder, like, is next gen really next gen? Am I really paying for a broken game? Or like, yo, Microsoft, Sony, what's going on? Like, what have you guys seen or what have you guys experienced or what do you guys think about launch as a whole? I know we're still in November, this is launch month, so might as well, right? How do you guys feel about the launch so far with everything going on?
I think
Honestly,
obviously,
I haven't touched any launch games.
yeah, I don't think I have really either. And I think obviously with whole global lockdowns, we will not be able to go to work. I think there are glaring issues in games and hardware, and the OS is from that. Obviously, PlayStation OS, some not even working half the time. Xbox's quick resume not working on some of the optimized titles.
Yep.
Till they patch it, you know what I mean?
I think they disable it completely, to be honest.
I think some games like Gears Tactics seems to work for me. MCC,
Okay.
Mass Chief Collection. It's weird. They said disabled it, but then some games still work. It's weird. I don't really know what's going on there, but there's issues like that where the process obviously hasn't been completely smoothed out like it should have been. So are glaring issues, but I don't think there's been anything for me what's been a super glaring issue or what's really kind of bugged me too much.
What I mean is, like, how do you feel about the launch? Oh, like 2020 launch of the two consoles? Like, because the thing about it is that we know that the consoles are capable of doing this or doing that, but the media has turned it this way. The fanboys has turned it this way. The games itself seems to be acting a certain way. So it brings a sense of, um, how can I put it? Almost like it's almost as though at one point something's being devalued in the process, but then at another point something is being risen, and then it's almost like the stock market in some ways. It goes up and
Yeah.
down.
I think it derives honestly more from something different because games now, right? Like back in the day, like you had, from 360 and before that,
Hmm.
when a game had a launch date, it had a hard launch date, right? Where now games, a lot of them are of service, right? Or they could just patch things in. So it kind of takes that stress off the developer. So they feel like, oh, well, we can launch the game and we can fix it up as it goes on. Where when they had those hard dates, they had to
Right.
finish that game. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think that's also part of the issue that a lot of these devs and a lot of these companies know that they can kind of get away with launching a, incomplete product. So I mean, even, you know, not to like, shit on the launches of these consoles. I think overall they've been fairly good.
Hmm.
Nothing crazy like in the past, but I, it's really a developer issue. It seems like mostly.
Um, then can we say that a lot of the games, even if it's single player, has adopted a strategy of software as a service? Or can I say that? What's a better way? Like with MMOs or like Destiny, right?
Hmm.
Destiny is closer to a single player game than something like WoW, right? But
Yeah.
you can play multiplayer, you can play with 3 people, 6 players, raid and
Mm.
stuff like that. So these games, right? Again, Destiny being the example, you're playing on their server. When the server goes down, the game goes down, right? But they update it, it gets better, they improve the quality, the frame rates, the performance, the optimization, stuff like that. Can we, I don't want to say assume because I think assumptions is bad, but can we would it be plausible to think that some of even the single player games
Oh yeah, for sure.
have, because what you're saying is that it has that,
I
there's
can
one
give you a
thing.
good example. Like,
Yeah.
remember Sword Art Online, the
Yes.
the last one that came out.
So-
Even though it is a multiplayer game, um, when it launched, it was single player,
Mhm.
and yeah, I mean, you remember how
Oh gosh.
almost terrible it ran, and it's gotten better since then. But that's just because these devs know that they have the power to do so. I mean, you could even say like the same thing about that Star Wars game, The Fallen Order from EA. It was a great game, but it's also launched pretty poorly, where they patched things in and made it better. Um, it's just the way the industry now, they know they had that buffer that they could always work on, which is great. But I think that there needs to be more of a stress on releasing completely finished products as opposed to just trying to get as much money out of people.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's the same
Especially
thing
in the
with
case of Anthem.
yeah.
Oh.
I mean, even like with pre-orders in general. I mean, the whole reason to pre-order a game in the first place was because there was only physical copies of games, and you wanted to make sure you got your physical copy of the game. Now that there's digital, it doesn't really make sense to pre-order a digital game. I mean, not in my opinion, because if you get it on digital, you'll always be able to get it, right? Even on day one, because you don't have to worry about being on a line or worry about them selling out. So they have a lot more power over us than they used to, and they know it. And I think that's the problem right now when it comes to games just being released, unfinished.
Lewis asked a question: are you guys playing on a regular TV or a monitor? Are you experiencing the full resolution and FPS? So I play on both PC and console. I prefer the console side, but I'm gradually turning towards the PC for certain things. Um, so I play on both. Now, I don't have a high resolution monitor because I didn't have the money to do that at the time, right? So right now my TV is it's a Samsung something something something. I can't tell you, but it's a 4K UHD HDR. It has 120 hertz, right? 4K. So I'm able to run that on the Series X. When the games fully apply those patches and say, hey, now you're good to go running, 120, 4K, 60, whatever, like Destiny, and Assassin's Creed and Legion. You know, games that are showing that there still needs some time to be optimized, if you will. So that's the extent right now of my experience technically with making sure that I can get the optimal experience. How about you, Don? What you got?
I have a Samsung 4K UHD HDR10 TV. It only supports 60 hertz, so I don't get the 120 bonus. But I think when I brought this TV when the One X came out. Obviously, 120 wasn't a thing
Yeah, I'm
back
sitting in
then.
the same.
So
Yeah, I'm sitting in the same boat as Don. I think we all have
Yeah.
Samsung. Did I just hear that correctly?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
all
so-
have Samsungs.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, it's one of those.
yo,
Just,
I'm
do I
telling
want
you.
to spend another 2K on a TV to get 120? Not really.
Probably in the next 2 or 3 years, maybe I'll do
Yeah.
that. But that's when 120 becomes natural or native.
Mm.
Because if you notice, whenever console is pushing a narrative, manufacturers are pushing the same narrative over time. So, you know, if 120 becomes the push for the industry in gaming, then you're gonna see it become natural for some of the TVs to say, "Oh yeah, we support this," and try to get the gaming community to buy into it. Especially with the monitors, man, the monitor is like $1,000 for like a 27-inch 4K 60.
You're right.
HDR, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
My wife would kill me saying like, I can't watch
It gets
this.
expensive real quick.
Tell my wife it's not for her. It's for me and gaming. So yeah, so that's gonna be waiting for a minute. But yeah, also playing.
This is also playing on a Samsung.
Okay, cool.
I also have a
Um,
Samsung monitor for my PC. It's just so nice. It's curved.
Samsung
got-
with my
masterpiece.
TV.
Is that
I
what's
got a
happening
curve,
right
but
now?
it's not 4K. So imagine a nice curved TV that doesn't have 4K. That's what I got.
Oof.
That's not TV, monitor. Sorry.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, both my monitor and TV are 4K curved. I'm spoiled.
Mm-hmm. No comment. You need to share some of that food with us, man.
you know what I mean?
Man, you know, I was playing a game the other day with D, and I'm hearing some clunk, 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 clunk. I was like, oh, somebody's on the wall frying some rice. I was like, who's killing it in the kitchen? I was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? But of course, you know, if they send it to me, it'll come to me like a week later and it'll be all stale and stuff, so I can't. But man, was I jealous? Yeah, was I jealous when I heard that? When you watch a lot of Asian joints and you see some of that work they put in the kitchen, I'm telling you.
Your mouth starts watering for the TV. Like, oh man.
I'm telling you. Cyberpunk multiplayer, first quarter next year. And I think they also had like a earnings actually, you know, what is not an earnings report, but a quarter three investors presentation.
Yes.
Man, try to say that fast. So what you guys think? It's going to be released on the 10th. A lot of people already playing the game. And then they also hinted at multiplayer coming in at least 2020, 2023.
I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk 27. Like, the more I hear about it, like, the more they just keep adding more and more value to it. I mean, they're even like trying to put like CDPR builds, you know, of copyrighted music toggle into Cyberpunk, just so like, you know, streamers don't get like hurt with the MCAs. You know, that's awesome.
And I think they're also putting a nudity filter on it too.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what.
That's
Does that means there's nudity in the game?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Don, we know you're still young here. But yes, there is nudity in the game, and I think for streaming purposes, they are putting a filter in so that you can still claim. Of course, there's what is it called? When it says the game is not for kids, there's a mature filter for
Yeah.
Twitch and such, and for YouTube. So that should assist in keeping things rated PG-13, at least, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. For those who are interested, but one thing that crossed my ears, and I think I'm not sure because some of these guys they go on YouTube and they just spit without knowledge, right? Without reference, in my opinion, that Cyberpunk is going to be more last gen than next gen when it comes to optimization. Now, based on the presentation, or was it some form of video, I guess, they were saying that they were surprised that everything ran the way it did on current gen. Current meaning Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And there are creators who have reason to believe that they're not going to optimize the game beyond the current gen specs, due to the delays and everything else that's going on. What you guys think about that? Because we see today that everybody's buying a Series X and a PlayStation 5, right? If not the whole thing in parts through Xbox All Access, right? What you guys think? Do you think this is going to actually be the thing with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk?
I think it's gonna launch with actual differences between each platform. I don't know if it's gonna run smooth on on Xbox S and the original Xbox or the original PS4. That might be kind of too much for the game, but I think the Series X, Series S, and the PS5 are gonna look really good. CD Projekt Red, they definitely go above and beyond. So for them to not do it in that, I mean, just even their base game for sale, the physical copy, has like a map and a game guide and a soundtrack and stuff like that. So I mean, I just can't see them releasing the game subparly. It just doesn't make sense. They've always put 110% in everything they do. But that's just my experience with them, at least from what I've seen and the videos I've seen too. They just look great. They look amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. And I wasn't even that hyped at first because, I'm looking more for a new MMO. So I'm not really looking towards another single player RPG. But I think what they have with the game, it looks really strong. And the fact that they're adding multiplayer into it and for free, and then the lead dev for the multiplayer part of it is actually a PvP player, PvP dev. So I mean, that's pretty big news right there, which I would not have expected. I would have expected more of a dungeon crawler kind of dev leading that.
One of the other things too to consider is that they can take advantage of the smart delivery for the Series X and S.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I think that would play well with CD Projekt Red and games going on into the Xbox economy. But how would that relate to those on the Sony side? You know what I mean? Because I'm just wondering. I mean, I guess I'm not allowed to wonder because, hey, I'm a consumer. I should just worry about what I got. But at the same time, through this podcast, we do have people who are interested and they're on, the last gen consoles, right? And what would that be like if CD Projekt Red said, oh, we had to make adjustments and it's only coming out for PS5 and Xbox?
It's my understanding that it's no matter which version you buy, it'll play on both generations, and you won't have to pay an extra fee like how you see with a lot of these other companies trying to push out.
That is right.
Yeah.
That is right. Okay.
So that's really great.
That is good. Now that you mentioned that, there was that article that came out saying that that's why they had to do the delays and stuff to do the optimizations. Got you.
Yep.
Got you. Cool.
I guess they're really going above and beyond with a lot of it, and they're really trying to set the standard where a lot of these other companies are really trying to see what they could get away with, trying to put the standard price at 70 and you buy the old game, you still gotta buy the update,
Hashtag 2K. But okay. So anybody interested in getting the I know, forgive me for asking for those who are, diehard Xbox guys, but the PlayStation 5 controller for Steam. Anybody interested in doing one of those type of things, getting one of those haptic feedback controllers for
I definitely want to
PC?
try it out. It sounds pretty cool. Like supposedly you can actually feel the difference between the textures of like the different types of ground you walk on. Like
Hmm.
supposedly, like if you're walking on sand, it'll have like a different like reaction if you're like walking on metal.
Now, keep in
Depending on the
mind,
game.
keep in mind that the devs have to provide certain functionality outside of
Yeah.
gamepad, gamepad,
True.
the normal gamepad config, right? Almost as though, let's say you're playing Warframe, there would, I can see it to where there's an option, there's controller, and then there's PlayStation 5 controller. You know what I'm saying? And then, I think that's probably where it would have to go. But Steam is saying that they already have support, or they're releasing some form of support for PlayStation 5 controller for PC.
Yeah, and I mean it makes sense because I mean they've like the player count for controllers is like what doubled since like 2018 on
Yep.
Steam.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
it makes sense.
And can we honestly say, okay, I understand PC Master Race. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I'm on my PC. I have a 2050 RTX and stuff. You know what I'm saying, with 32 gig of RAM, rocking a SATA. I'm not gonna tell you what kind of SATA I got. I got like 7 of them. But I just love console. But the thing about it is, like between 2018 and 2020, we're seeing people shift who went to PC and is no longer keyboard and mouse, becoming the dominant force. Now, it is the recommended for PvP, right? Shooters
Oh yeah.
and things like that. But the experience, a lot of people tend to go back to their gamepads. I mean, D, what do you think? Because I know you've been on PC. Don, you haven't been on PC before, right? You never played on PC.
I've dabbled in PC gaming a long time ago, but nothing like serious. I've always been a controller kind of guy.
So I mean, in my opinion, at least for playing PC games for years, I love playing on PC, but I do prefer to play on console. I think it's mostly just because of the controller. At least for me, and this is kind of something in the community. I guess like in World of Warcraft, like we'll kind of joke and be like, posture check, boys. Like you put it in like trade chat or like global chat, because like you got to check your posture when you're playing on the keyboard and mouse. There's just something about it that kind of almost like makes you like into this like slouching goblin. It's like like turning into like the computer itself. Where
Dang.
with the controller, you can kind of like chill, lay back, and I don't know. There's just something different about the controller. And I mean, it's just so much easier now to just hook up your computer to like the TV, whether it's wireless or with a wire or whatever, however you want to do it, and just play games on the TV. I mean, and we're even seeing like these Steam machines, right? Like and everything.
Yeah.
So
I
I
found it.
think that's just where it's going.
I found it interesting because you got people who swear by keyboard and mouse as the only way to play, right? And to see
True.
that it has double, triple, quadrupled in controller, like gamepad, on PC is surprising to me. Which is pushing the industry in a certain way, because now people are saying, when I mean people, I'm talking about those who study how people play games, are saying that there is, how can I put it? They're seeing results to where the preferred play to play, like if you want to play a gamepad, right? Optimizations to compete with keyboard and mouse is there, right? And vice versa, because now the player base has changed. Now they have to optimize those gamepads to be competitive enough for keyboard and mouse. Even though we have esports, even though we have, online competitive play that you win prizes and stuff, they're looking in that direction now. And I found it weird, highly weird, after being told PC Master
I
Race
think
for life. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what comes to my mind.
yeah. I think it's just the immersion aspect of it, really. I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's the main reason people are just playing with a controller more. There's just something that's just more chill, relaxed about it.
But
Yeah,
do you
definitely.
but do you see it becoming a standard for esports sometime soon? Do you see that
I
happening?
I think there'll definitely be a mixture because you even see games like World of Warcraft trying to create functionality with the controller, even though it has an ungodly amount of keybinds that that won't work as smoothly as they do in like Final Fantasy 14.
Bro, you saw me on
Um,
Final Fantasy 14 double clicking the trigger, and oh my gosh.
yeah, it's not really practical, but
Mhm.
they're trying to develop it more, and I think there's definitely room for both because I mean, you even had like actual competitions. I want to say like one of the first Fortnite competitions, you had like a person playing with a controller who actually won like number one, and this is like back in the day. I mean,
Mhm.
since then, obviously now like just it's become a way bigger game. So of course the mice and keyboard guys are definitely winning more. But back in the day, they were actually able to compete. Um, I don't
So
know. It'd
so
be nice.
I mean, with that being said, it's just a matter of time. I mean, we already
Yeah,
have SCUF controllers, we have the Xbox Elite controllers, we have all these other, derivatives of the gamepads. Now the Sony gamepad, which is a good segue to PlayStation VR. And I have to bring it up because it is an industry thing. So
yeah,
PlayStation VR 2 sometime next year, and they are looking to include not just the gamepad, the haptic feedback gamepad, where they're saying it's so immersive that you can feel as you're in VR playing with a controller, but they're also adding all the other peripherals such as the motion controller and things like that. Um, we're not there yet, people, because I'm looking for a point where, um, what is it called? Ready Player One, right?
Oh
Where they
wow, yeah, full
trust
on.
me, I am there. I am there. My mind is like, man, we need to get there. And Sword Art Online. Like, if those two worlds can clash and become a game experience, then it doesn't matter where you are. I'm going to be there, right? But like, that's it's. I think we're just like a 1% in the bucket, to be honest. But with the haptic feedback on the controller and the PlayStation VR coming in, hopefully running at 4K, any of you guys thinking of picking that up?
yeah. I think I'm gonna end up picking it up. I wanted to get it last time with the PS4, but I wasn't playing as much on it because all my friends were on the Xbox One. But I think this time around, I'm gonna pick it up at least for single player games for that immersion aspect of it. Especially because like the new controllers. I mean, I think that's really gonna add a lot to the immersion. And with these new headsets, they look like they're gonna be lighter. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I think that's never. I mean, the old ones weren't that heavy either. But I know when I've played with some of the like the Oculus Rift and all that kind of stuff, I found them to be a little too heavy and a little too bulky. So as long as it's lightweight and doesn't feel as restrictive on your head, I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm down for it.
Okay. And it's gonna be like $400, right? They're probably gonna stick with the $400. I think
Hmm.
the VR is gonna be how can I put it? The market for VR is getting cheaper because of the materials, I guess. But so the Oculus costs 800, if I'm correct. One sec. Um,
400 still pretty steep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's almost a console price. You know what I mean?
okay.
Hmm.
So the
It's a lot
Oculus
of money.
Quest 2 at 256 gigabytes is $400. And then the newest Oculus, this is Walmart, is $727.56.
God damn.
That's in American money, so you can equate that in pounds.
Yeah, it's just still a lot of money.
But yeah. So the Oculus 2 is ranging anywhere between $200 to $400. And then would say $800. Makes sense. And then here's my
Yeah, I think if you're getting,
I say hit him with the
yeah, ideally.
I say hit him with the $299. If you want people to jump in, you know.
Yeah,
I think if Xbox had its own version of it, you would see it at $299. But because they're not really competing with another console in this respect, it's like they're almost cornering it because they're not really competing with the PC version of it when you think about it. I mean they are, but not directly.
It's almost as though Xbox
think that has
has
a
gone
point.
fully game publishing, and offer and we offer a console here that you can play it in 4K 60 and whatever, but but it's like they see the war that's going on and they don't want to be a part of that war, like console warism. I mean, even Phil Spencer says that console war is toxic and he doesn't want to be a part. If there's anything that he would quit the industry for, is specifically console war toxicity.
Yeah.
Right. So I can see that. But if Xbox does do something related to VR, I can see them either, again, they have a partnership with Sony. No, it's not Sony, Samsung. There's a Samsung
exploration. It's in our DNA. There's something inside each and every one of us that compels us to know the unknown. To push past every frontier.
So they don't need to produce their own hardware.
We want to see what's never been
Partner.
seen.
So here's the word.
Hear what's never been heard.
63 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Feel
So like,
Oh,
what's
yeah,
never
yeah.
been felt.
Yeah, that's like so imagine
There are no limits to where we'll go,
Yeah. Like Sea of Thieves.
to what we'll discover,
Yeah, that's a good point.
to what we'll achieve.
I mean, it worked for them. It's first person.
We are all explorers.
you see,
First person.
he's asking
First
questions. He's
There are
asking
new
questions.
worlds to explore.
I played it a little bit.
Exactly.
It didn't hold me.
Yo, I saw this dude play Sea of Thieves. I'm like, oh, he's on Sea of Thieves. Download that joint, man. By the time it was downloaded, he was playing something completely different. Like, yeah, he's not coming back. He's
He
not coming back.
uninstalled it and everything.
Exactly. Like, I'm not coming back to that.
It's
But-
something where I feel like I'm getting stronger.
Yeah, but it makes sense. I mean, it would make sense if that was the direction. If that is the direction, it would make sense because you have a $200 gear set, headset, right? Your phone already runs the xCloud Game Pass. Why not? Somebody just make a VR game specifically for Game Pass, put it in that joint. Xbox says only playable with the Samsung Gear VR. That basically solidifies their partnership with Samsung again, after you could already play on every Samsung device as is.
Avowed.
And there we go. But anyways, any last words for our community, guys?
I'm just looking forward to some of the new changes in the RPG industry. Especially going on with like Square Enix. Allowing people to work from home permanently now. I think that's a good move.
Wait,
This
what was that?
Square Enix, they're gonna let their employees work from home permanently.
Well, that's a good move, but then that slows down development for Final Fantasy 16.
Well, if it becomes the standard and they're used to it, because they obviously have to be getting good results for them to do that. At least in my opinion, I think that they're not going to do it if they feel like it's a bad move. They're going to do it if they think it's progressively better. At least I would hope to think that anyway. And I'm sure, like, even though they're going to let people work from home permanently, I'm sure when things go back to normal, they're going to have like more of a hybrid schedule. Where they're like having their like maybe weekly or monthly meetings. I'm sure they're going to do something like that because Japanese are a lot more organized when it comes to things like that.
Well,
But
we also have to consider the fact that there are some economic situations going in Japan right now, especially with population
oh, for
and
sure.
travel, people going back to the countryside, to
Exploration.
it's just there's a lot going on there. So for me, when I think about
It's
that,
in our DNA.
Well, obviously, Square Enix had to have done something.
There's something inside each and every one of us that compels us to know the unknown, to push past every frontier. We want to see what's never been seen, hear what's never been heard, feel what's never been felt. There are no limits to where we'll go, to what we'll discover,
Oh yeah, but I mean,
to what we'll
from my
achieve.
understanding of what I've read, they're
We
still
are
gonna have
all
people who are assigned as either home based or office
And
based.
there are new
So I mean,
worlds
it's not like
to
it's
explore.
100% going on, but at least I think it was like 80% of the staff will be working from home. So we'll see. And I think they're supposed to even be like calling it month to month, but I think overall that's better for the the health and safety of
I agree.
the devs. They're not sick in quarantine for 2 weeks and can't work, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we already know how it is. When I've watched a documentary with some of these people who make like these animes, and they barely get paid, and they have to make rent and stuff like that. So I can
Very
only
true.
imagine like the animators and the designers and everybody else over there in Japan who have small apartments paying New York prices. I'm just saying, if I could, I would donate as much as I could to help these guys out, man, because I love me some anime. I'm saying. D, what you got? D, Don CJ.
Final message, man. Just gear up for Cyberpunk, man. Like, it's a big game after 7 years of waiting. It's finally coming out. That's gonna be the next big topic, I think.
I don't know how you knew about Cyberpunk for so long and didn't know that they had nudity in the game. It's
Listen,
like his eyes just started to sparkle.
you know why? 'Cause I didn't thought the game would ever come out,
Mhm.
and now it's
Mhm.
coming. So I just put my pre-order in today, and I'm looking forward for that. That should be
Yo,
the next.
are
Next
you
one.
getting the legendary edition with the?
No, I just got the standard one.
Okay. Cool. On my end, I'm still gonna be playing some Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I've basically found all the waypoints. I've done everything pre-story, pre-campaign. I'm still doing side story, and then I'm gonna jump into the main story and Legion as well. So we're on the Series X and test out this ray tracing and stuff like that that's going on. I haven't experienced that yet, so I'm gonna jump in. Community, Lewis, Jennifer, and those who are watching who are not in the chat, thank you so much for coming through.
Can you kill something that big?
Thank you. This is a wrap. Not complete yet, but
My name is Marcus.
My name is Kara.
My name is Connor.
until then.
Peace.
Bye.